But one of the questions I want to ask you guys is, with this being done, now Micah Parsons is now going to be a member of the Green Bay Packers for all this crazy money. And more than likely, Nick Bosa will likely look for an extension after the season to get a huge pay raise.
Thank you, Lord.
What does this mean for a guy like Jauan Jennings, who's like, I want my contract. I want my oh, shit. Oh, crap. Okay.
I'm not getting it now.
And the team's like, what do you want? I want my shut up. Bosa, can we talk? You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, this may have sunk his battleship where he's like, oh,
they might have been picking up his calls from his agent. All of a sudden, it's going straight to DMs, like straight to the message.
Straight to voicemail.
Straight to voicemail. Everyone's like, he's like, hey, guys, no, I don't care. Go away. We're busy right now.
Well, if your name isn't Nick Bosa, don't talk to us.
It's a good point because San Francisco already seems rather timid to pay Jauan Jennings. They seem like they don't really want to do that. And I'll play the clip here in a second of John Lynch talking about it. But now that they may have the thought in their head, and it may have already had this there, but we may have to pay Nick Bosa more money.
Mm-hmm.
We can't afford to even think about paying Jauan Jennings now.
Nope.
Like that to me is a real thing where Jauan may have been holding out hope, which I don't know if he actually would have got paid. I have really changed my mind on what I think will happen with him in the last few days or so. But this now almost removes any thought of paying Jauan Jennings for San Francisco in my mind. Like it's not happening.
Absolutely.
I have to think that the 49ers have people in their building that have their ear to the ground that knew that something might be happening.
I mean, possibly. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not.
You're not turning on Twitter in John Lynch's office and be like, never saw something like that coming.
Right.
Well,
the
I think
trade to Green Bay is not the reason they're worried. Like he was going to get paid, whether in Dallas or Green Bay.
Yeah.
Just was how much was he going to get paid? Dre, go on. Sorry.
But I think still, like, even if Dallas would have given him this contract, right? You would say, okay, he's making this much more money. This is going to affect Nick Bosa. But the fact that it's a trade and he's getting a fat contract, to me, it's even bigger deal because now it shows you that another franchise is willing to give a player this much money. Not just the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, but the Green Bay Packers and whoever the fuck runs them. They're the ones that give
Brian
them money.
Gutekunst, brother.
There you go. And so, like I said, to me, Jauan Jennings' boat just got torpedoed by Micah Parsons, just right through the boat.
It's like him and John Lynch. It's like him and John Lynch playing Battleship, and it's like, okay, Jauan, you have one more boat left, and then you sunk my battleship. He's not getting paid.
Or they're playing Battleship and they're on each sides of the board, and Nick Bosa just comes into the room and just wrecks the table, like right through the middle, like he drops the Macho Man elbow from the top rope right to the table, and like says,
he just walks in, punches Jauan, and says, "I'm playing now." And so puts the chips back on the board, and John's like, "Wait, what? What's happening? No!" He's like freaking
What's
out.
that meme where the guy's with a girl and he's looking back at the other girl?
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. Jauan Jennings is like, what? You're like, no, I thought we had something going. Like, hey, Jauan, it was nice talking to you. I got to go. Something just came up. And, I think if you're Jauan Jennings, you report to the facility on Monday and you're out there showing – because at this point now, if you're Jauan Jennings, you have to prove to them, to the Niners and the rest of the league, that you're healthy and that you're worth this money. Because now it's like, well, come on, dude.
And if he sits out, the only person he's hurting is himself.
Right.
So eventually that little bit of money that he's getting paid is going to be like, I guess they're not going to play ball with me. And then all of a sudden the Niners are like, now I don't have to deal with it.
Is
a
it
4-year 188? I mean, come on.
Crazy. Is it even worth even playing the John Lynch clip now?
Sure.
I mean, yeah, because I think it's an honest
I want
to
get your viewers to look at the body language of John Lynch because it's important in this clip.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, yesterday John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan talked to the media and discussed the practice squad and the 53-man roster, and of course they were bombarded with a ton of questions regarding Jauan Jennings. And keep an eye on John Lynch's body language because it gives a really good indication as to how the front office and the GM view potentially bringing him back for a long-term contract.
Is it worse than you originally had thought it was going to be?
Yeah, but I also, calves can take a long time. That's one thing with that injury. Played with guys who they can take a while. So.
sure you may be aware that there's been some conjecture that there's more than just a calf going on, given his desire for a new contract and everything. Are you convinced when he is healthy that he'll be ready to play?
Well, there's a lot that goes into that, Eric. Ideally, everybody has a training camp. Everyone's out there. That's a perfect world. But, he's been putting in work to the side, and we'll have to make that judgment when the time comes. The other thing is both things can be true. He wants a new contract and he's got a hurt calf. So I think people want to assume one or the other. Both things can be true.
When you make your decisions on the wide receiver position specifically, do you have to do it assuming you might not have Jauan for the first few weeks?
I think we make every decision on this roster with so many things in consideration. So, yes, of course.
Has he asked to be traded?
A while ago he did, but that was a long time ago, and we've moved on from that.
That was during camp, or was it before?
I'm not getting into when it was, but it was a while ago.
Damn.
Kawakami trying to drill down.
That last question sunk that press conference.
Yeah. I mean, it was very telling. Looking at his body language, looking at Kyle Shanahan, they're over it. They're done with this bullshit. They're like, dude, get your ass on the field, dude. We just want to win some fucking games here. And instead, he's playing this charade where he wants to get more money. And
I think it had a lot to do with the fact that it was a real injury. Probably it started as a real injury, and then they saw the wide receiver room and with the situation that was happening, and all of a sudden his agent was like, "Time to ask for more money. They need you." And it's backfired on them totally. They rather go get street free agents than pay this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, he tried to play this a little bit differently than what Brandon Ayuk did, last offseason. But at the end of the day, it's still the same situation where it's like, hey, I don't want to play because I want more money. I'm going to sit out and watch. When he does come back, he may or may not even look the same. Now, granted, both of them, Jauan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk, they're entirely different receivers. Ayuk is a great route running receiver that creates separation. Jauan Jennings is a guy that, does all the dirty work, finds those soft spots in your defense, and then tries to get yards after the catch or makes the tough catch because he's a big, tall guy and tough receiver. So they're both different kinds of receivers. And I think that the timing issue with Brandon Ayuk was a huge problem that he had coming back so late. And I think before he got hurt, I think he was starting to come around and they were starting to go to him more often. And then he got blown up, and then that was the end of that.
I have changed my thoughts on the Jauan Jennings situation. I was staunchly in the camp of the injury is real. It's more severe than we think it is. Jauan isn't the holdout kind of guy. Jauan is more of a team player than, say, Ayuk was. He's not going on podcasts. He's not going on social media, making it about himself. He's not really been a distraction outside of just asking for more money and not practicing. However, that I don't think is the case anymore. I do think he actually is injured, albeit it's more minor than I initially believed it to be. So I'm somewhat pivoting my thoughts on this. I don't think San Francisco is willing to pay Jauan Jennings beyond this season, and that's the problem. I do think San Francisco would be willing to give Jauan a couple more $1 million this year to satisfy him. I think it's you don't want to pay me for 2026 and 2027. They're unwilling to almost erase the void years in his contract and give him a deal, let's say, through 2028. They don't want to do that. They don't want to tie themselves to guys they don't believe can either hold up or maybe aren't as valuable to the roster. Don't forget, Jauan Jennings, for as good as he has been and as clutch as he has been, is a former 7th-round draft pick. You can find these guys a lot. Now, Jauan is awesome. I love Jauan Jennings, but this to me is like, look, we don't want to give you 2 or 3 years of a contract, but also now that you're kind of hurt, and like John said, calves are really tricky, we don't now want to pay you more money this year either. Like JJ, for as much as it's worth, has kind of lost on both fronts here because the injury certainly sucks for this year. And San Francisco, after kind of getting handed a mandate from Jed York and Prog Marate of like, hey, we're not paying dudes unless you absolutely have to. If it's Brock, if it's Fred, if it's a cornerstone player, we'll pay those dudes. But we're not paying Brandon Ayuk's. We're not paying Jauan Jennings. We're not paying Malik Collins and Leonard Floyd. We're not doing those kind of deals anymore. And I think San Francisco, mainly John and Kyle, are like, our hands are tied, Jauan. Like, we can't do much here for you. We want you to come back. We want you to be on the roster and play for us against Seattle week 1. But there's a reason San Francisco, like Gray said earlier, signed MBS and is interested somewhat in signing Kendrick Bourne. There's a real future in which Juan Jennings is gone after this year and doesn't even suit up against the Seahawks week 1. Like they're preparing themselves.
It's becoming more of a not I can't say guarantee, but it's like I didn't believe it at first. But like I said that thing about Fox NFL Sunday and how things work out. But man, rewatching that press conference, it's kind of maybe he doesn't suit up and maybe they're okay with it. And then when they get Demarcus Robinson back, then because he looked pretty impressive in the preseason. So you're only as good at the NFL is a what have you done for me lately kind of league. And if somebody comes along who's more impressive and less expensive, then all of a sudden what you do isn't all that special. So I don't know.
To me, it comes down to San Francisco can no longer wait for Jauan Jennings and is actively preparing for life without him as early as next weekend against the Seahawks.
Absolutely. The fact that they brought in Valdez-Scantling, the fact that they're in talks with Kendrick Bourne, which I think they are literally trying to bring him back, actively trying to get him back. There was footage of Kyle Shanahan hugging Kendrick Bourne after the game, and Bourne was like, "Hey man, thank you for everything, man. They have
that last year against New England.
It was last year, but still, like you could see the friendship was still there. Yeah. And so
Bourne
to me,
I'm not a big Bourne guy either. Sorry,
but Bourne was a big red zone threat, especially with Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's Kendrick Bourne.
I mean, he's not going to be like, look, is Kendrick Bourne the next coming of Jauan Jennings? No, but he's familiar.
He was
with
the first
system.
coming of Jauan Jennings.
Yes, he was. He knows the system. He's got familiarity with a lot of the players here. And I think by bringing in a guy like Kendrick Bourne, they're telling Jauan Jennings, hey, look, if you're not ready, we're going to bring in other guys that are ready to contribute now. And I think that's why you didn't see them keep a guy like Robbie Chosen on the roster. Because they said, you know what? There are better options than Robbie Chosen. Is Robbie Chosen a bad player? No, I don't think so. I thought he played really well in the preseason, but they have a higher standard that they're trying to keep, and they're saying, no, let's put him on the practice squad. We can find someone better. And they wanted someone better.
We've kind of been talking about, Micah Parsons being traded and how it impacts Jauan Jennings and Nick Bosa's contracts. With Parsons getting traded just maybe over 2 weeks away from kickoff. I guess today is actually 1 week away from the NFL kickoff next Thursday. Does this maybe increase the likelihood that Jauan does get traded? Because I know John was adamant about we're not doing that. We're not trading him. But when Micah gets traded the week before the actual opener, maybe this does force San Francisco's hand. Like they can put Jauan on IR for however long it needs to be. But do you want to waste an IR spot for Jauan Jennings, which he might be 95% healthy? I don't want to do that. Like, to me, things are really complicated right now. And if Jauan doesn't want to play and he wants money, then at this point, just trade him. Like, what do you have to lose?
But his value is dropping. I think his value is dropping by the day, especially once season starts. Teams are going to start forgetting what he even did last season. It's like, hey, look, what about Jauan Jennings?
His value is all that high to begin with around the NFL.
He's
overvaluing Do you think it's higher than it would be in the offseason is my question, I guess. Because let's say he signs and the comp pick is worth a 5th round pick. Same as Deebo Samuel. Do you think you can get a 5th round pick right now?
Probably. I think you could. I think he's more of a 6th round pick. I don't think you get anything more than a 5th round pick. And you'd be lucky to get that. I think a 6th round pick is what you get for Jauan Jennings.
Would you
I don't think somebody parts with a 5th, even for a 5th with him.
Yeah.
I think it's 6 or 7.
6 or below.
No way.
Yeah.
So would you guys be more
cash considerations?
Would you guys be more player to be named later for Jauan Jennings? Would you guys then be more comfortable? Because I don't like the idea of trading a healthy Jauan Jennings. He was so good for us last year. What he brings to the offense, his blocking, like that's not my first choice. but it's only if Jauan forces their hand and will not suit up next week, even if he actually can and should be out there.
Yeah.
Are you guys open to the idea of just saying, look, he's on IR, he's going to be done until he actually wants to come back for us, and until then, we're not going to see him? Or would you rather trade him and activate somebody like MVS on the active roster, or sign Robbie Chosen-Anderson, or sign Kendrick Bourne instead? Because they're going to have to make a move on the 53-man roster to get Kendrick Bourne in there. So Jauan Jennings, to me, could be the odd man out, whether it be IR or via trade, to acquire Kendrick Bourne too.
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
All gas, no brakes.
Is there worth the trouble if they're only going to get a 6th round pick back for him? Like, why even trade him? Like, who
I
cares?
think there's a deadline on Jauan Jennings. I think I think they tell him, hey, by such and such date or on this day, if you don't let us know, like if you don't show up, then you're going on IR, and then we'll figure things out throughout the season. But we're not going to wait around for you. We're not.
We love you, but you ain't worth. You're not worth the money. Sorry.
If this was Deebo Samuel of 2019,
yes,
coming off that season, totally different.
It's 2021 Deebo, where it's like, oh man, like we want to pay you a lot of money, but San Francisco doesn't even feel like they want to pay him. Like
no, but
there's no urgency to pay Jauan Jennings.
I like what Kenny 49er says.
Yeah.
3rd and Jauan.
It's
Jauan.
Good. It's good.
I mean, it's just at this point, if I'm Jauan Jennings, I'm like, hey, look, I'm just going to show up and start practicing, start playing. Because to me, he's just hurting himself.
Lori Matthews asks in the YouTube chat, wouldn't that be dumb on his part, though? If he doesn't play, he only hurts his value. So
absolutely.
Right. Like the thing is that if Jauan's not going to get paid, which it seems like he's not going to, the smart thing is for him, his own money this year and his own money however long it's going to be after the season, is to play for San Francisco.
Yeah, his value goes up if he plays and plays well.
And so it also helps San Francisco get a higher comp pick if he signs for a larger contract. The issue, again, though, like Jauan is maybe thinking, well, I'm kind of hurt. I don't want to play injured. And if I get actually hurt like Brandon Ayuk last year, my stock is entirely tanked, which if you're San Francisco, you get him back for the cheap and call it a day. But it really does feel like that it's going to be put Jauan on IR and then sign Kendrick Bourne, because Jauan doesn't feel like he actually wants to suit up this year unless he gets paid money, which doesn't seem like that's going to happen for him.
The Dre Area Sports Show is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use promo code Dre Area Sports to save $20 on your first purchase at SeatGeek.com. And we are also brought to you by Taryn Roy, the SEO Optimizer. If you're looking to boost your YouTube channel, then check out the SEO Optimizer. Use promo code Dre Area Sports to start your free trial today. Power Brand Systems. If you're looking to build a website for your small business or YouTube channel, then check out Power Brand Systems. Use promo code 300POWER to save up to $300 on your first purchase at Power Brand Systems.